Guys, welcome back to the channel where review anything and everything. And today I'm just doing a little bit of update. I don't know how well you can kind of see this with all the rest of the lights off in the room. And I know the camera's not really picking this up all that great, so I apologize for that. But I just wanted to show that the water is clearer than it's ever been in probably over a year. Now, if you guys remember, there was a point in time where I did a video showing that the water got cloudy and it got kind of very, it wasn't hurting the fish, but at the same time, it just got very cloudy and it wasn't really performing the way it should in terms of the visual. I'm not gonna say it was unhealthy for them, but it definitely wasn't that good in terms of like the visual. It wasn't that clear. And I had mentioned about going to the pet store. They mentioned about putting less food in. So I started doing that. I started putting in less food. I put in one serving of food a day rather than two. And in my mind, it was enough for them because, when you have a natural setup, because I don't have a filter, what happens is that food, it forms on things. It stays on things. It doesn't get cleared out. Here you can see some particulates of food. I fed them maybe about 2 or 3 hours ago, but maybe 2 hours ago. But so I realized between that plus just whenever the water evaporates, and this is summertime, so sometimes the water evaporates pretty fast, but I try to fill it up to at least within about an inch of the top. That helps also to keep the water clear, because when you have more water, I think it's less, less, how should I say, it dilutes whatever, materials are building up into the water, such as like when things are decaying or anything of that sort. But with that being said, it just really is a lot. Yeah, I know it's not capturing it on camera the way that it really is. Maybe I will have to, use another camera to capture the video to show that, something that can really kind of be able to push this in a lower light setting, because I can put some lights on. Let me see. But I really don't think it's just gonna make the glass, it's gonna make the glass blur out a little bit. Let me try to also put this other light on from the side and see how this helps. And see if this helps right now, if you guys are able to see it a little bit better. But I know you start seeing reflection at this point when I do this. So let me try to maybe take this light off, and then the light that's just coming behind might be able to help a little bit, but it's very clear. Obviously it's still, now these little dots, they just don't come off. I've used a toothbrush before, the back of a toothbrush, where you got the scrubbing part. That's just like baked into the glass at this point now, unless I use like a metal scraper, which I'm not going to, because the only type I have is, from things like you use with paint work and sheetrock and stuff like that. I don't want to put anything that could put chemicals in there, but it's just so clear. So I just wanted to update you guys on that the water, I just realized this maybe about like this week, and it just hit me. I was like, this water is so clear. I can see all the way through to the back end of the tank, clear. So, and what's interesting when it comes to a natural filterless setup tank is that you don't know when it's going to be this way. You know what I mean? Some people might be experts in taking care of their tank to that level where they're like, I know all the little things. But for the most part, for me, it's like, it was a lot of trial and error. Some days, like, it gets really foggy. There's a point in time where it got like really foggy, then other times it got even more foggy. And you just never really knew what was making the water what. Then I have got a heater. I put the heater in it, and then that made it get all these little kind of worm type of things. I don't know what they're called, tetra worms or something like that. These little worm things, which is cool. I don't think it was unhealthy for the water, but it just was like, really brought out a lot of life. Then later on, I unplugged the heater, let it get a little cooler in there, and all those things faded away. Who knows, maybe they went into the dirt. But nonetheless, like when you have a filterless tank, it's really a lot of trial error. Now, the smaller tank has always been really clear. Now it has almost like an amber look to it, which is fine. But this one now matches the bigger tank. The 20 gallon now matches that amber look clear, but like this amber look, where this always had a foggy look in the 5 gallon. Well, that's the 10 gallon now. It used to be a 5 gallon. I had to switch it out because it broke. But the 10 gallon was also equally clear as the 5 gallon. It did have a little bit of amber though. But nonetheless, my point is that the larger tank was never as clear as the smaller tank, and now it is just as clear, and it's amazing to me that that is the case. And I just wanted to update you guys on that because throughout this journey of trying to maintain the tank, it has not been easy. I don't know how these plants are still surviving. They're doing good, yet you know, I took them out of the containers they were in so the roots could really grab hold. And I feel like the roots look a little all over the place. But then again, it's probably because they came from those containers. Some of the roots probably died, and some of the roots have like new, healthier roots that are in the dirt, which is why it's still living. But maybe that caused it to get, you know, help with the water as time went on. I'm not really too sure. The snails are doing their work too, but I don't think it's that. I don't know what it is that decided just all of a sudden it got a lot more clear, but I'm just really happy about where the water's at. Like I said, fans of the channel know that hasn't been this clear in a very long time, almost since the time that I first set this tank up. Now, granted, at that point, it was even more clear, but that's like more of an unnatural kind of clear, you know, when things are just brand new and fresh. I feel like when you have like a very living tank, they're not going to be crystal clear. Like this is very clear water. You can see right through to the other side of the tank. And I think that's when you know it's really good, but it's still going to have that amber look because there's natural things that are the leaves that are on the floor decaying in there and this and that. Like it's going to do its thing like natural life. Like if you were at a pond, that's how a pond will look, even if it's clear. So I think for a very natural and living type of environment, I think that it's actually as clear as it can kind of be. And that is awesome to me right now. That's just really just like I said, caught me off guard because it's been a long time since I've ever been that clear. So anyway, I just wanted to update you guys on that. As always, you guys like, share, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next video.